You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show with Pana civic, business, and nonprofit leaders coming to you from our Taylorville studios. The WTIM Pana Morning Show, it's brought to you by our title sponsor and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with your Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, the Nokomis Dairy Queen Pana Bowl, and the Okanee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman, and our guests in this segment, I'm joined by Deb Zook, principal of Sacred Heart Schools, Grace Holthouse, administrative intern, and several students at the kindergarten, first grade, and second grade level. Good morning to all of you. How are we?
Good. How are you?
Doing well on this end, and excited to talk today about the Christmas spirit going on at Sacred Heart Schools. And we're going to be starting today with Deb. And the question for you, Principal Zook, is, well, how does the school incorporate the spirit of Christmas into your daily activities here in the month of December? What are we doing so far for the holiday season?
Well, I think, at a Catholic school, it's a little bit different. The spirit of Christmas and balancing from the spiritual side as opposed to the excitement. So we try to balance both to keep, for the students to be excited about what's coming and then to balance Advent as to his coming. So, but they do a great job. They say a prayer for a special person in the giving season every day. So like I said, we don't try to change their routine a whole lot during that month because they're excited anyway. So it's the balance between the spirit and the spirit.
Well, I am glad to hear that the spirit of Christmas is still something that is a concern for you, or at least something that we're trying to spread to the kids there. Because of course, everybody's going to be excited about the gifts, but what is the purpose behind it, and what are we still getting together for, in remembrance of, or whatever the case might be? So for you, that is interesting. You're kind of towing the line, but also just trying to fit it in to the daily activities within the schedule. And for you, Principal Zook, I have to imagine that there are multiple memories, if not a particular memory that sticks out to you as like the Christmas memory for you as principal. I'm wondering what that might be.
I'll tell you what, being in administration for 20 plus years, you have different types of memories. I'm going to share one of the memories of Sacred Heart. We always put the nativity out in the hallway. Well, everybody's there except baby Jesus. And I had a kindergarten student a couple of years ago that was very, very upset because he wasn't. And for probably 2 or 3 days, he would come in my office and he'd be standing out there looking. And he would say to me, well, he hasn't come yet. I said, it won't be too many more sleeps because that's how we count our days. Or I do, before he does come. And on about the 4th day, I see a little paper baby Jesus that he had made at home the night before lying in the crib. So he said, now we can have Christmas because he's here. And I said, yes, he is. So that baby just stayed there for the rest of our time until the real baby, or until Christmas. So he was very excited about his baby, our new baby Jesus.
Well, my goodness, to make something at home and then lay him in the manger, and it just had to be a neat experience for you, and also just truly probably something that'll stand out for the rest of your time as well. It'd be hard not to. That's a tough story to top in terms of a favorite Christmas memory for you among many, I am sure, for you, Principal Zook. And so we do want to turn our attention now to a conversation with Grace Holthouse, administrative intern. And the question for Grace here to start things off is, well, how is the school integrating Catholic values into the everyday learning and activities, not just during this holiday season, but throughout the calendar year? And that's what my question to you is, Grace, and how are we doing that?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's definitely a part of what we do here every day, not just during Advent and the Christmas season. So, for example, our students actually were at Mass this morning before joining us here in the office. I have a bunch of kids at my feet doing their best quiet and waiting their turn. They attend Mass 2 times a week. We have religion, lessons as a part of their schedule daily. It's also just kind of woven into what we do here in terms of our overall values and what we expect of our students behavior-wise. We also have a prayer board in the hallway where students are welcome to add, someone or something that they're praying for. So that's something we encourage. So it's definitely a part of every day and really an overarching just kind of rule that we follow here, that we're always trying to show our Christian values. Speaking of Christian values, students can be nominated throughout the month for showing Christian values, being helpful, being kind, things like that. And at the end of the month, the last Friday of the month, we draw one of our K2 students or K3 students and one of our 4-8 students. They get their name drawn, get a little recognition, extra prize, things like that. So we're always looking for our students to be showing those expected and appreciated behaviors that align with Catholic values.
Absolutely. And during our conversation, one of which we had maybe a month back, or maybe that was 2 now, with Grace, I remember talking about just that, the nominations, and how that just kind of spurs on that culture that you guys are trying to establish, and also just the care for each other, and the fact that it is a big family at Sacred Heart Schools. And so that is a message and a theme that continues year round, not just during this time, and certainly wanted to give you a platform to be able to tell our listeners just that. Well, now it is time for our kindergarten Christmas wishes. We've got 3 students that plan to tell us what they maybe are looking for this Christmas season. Could you give us your name first, and then what you're wishing for here this Christmas?
All right.
My name is Lyra, and I wish everybody would stay healthy.
Wow,
Ooh, that's a good one.
that is a really great Christmas wish, and that is Lyra with her Christmas wish. What other Christmas wishes do we have?
All right. You want to tell me?
My name is Mason, and I wish everyone can have fun.
Can have fun this Christmas. That is a good wish. So staying healthy and having fun, those are 2 really good things during the Christmas. We have one other wish, and what would that be?
My name is Theo, and I want a fighting monster truck with a remote control.
Ooh,
Oh, so we're hoping for a happy and
Spidey?
fun. Sorry,
he wants a Spidey remote control monster truck to play with.
not a bad deal. So we're healthy, we're happy and having fun, and now we have a remote control monster truck type deal to be able to play with. That doesn't sound like 3 bad wishes to me. And is that, as administration, we got to feel pretty good about some of those wishes.
Yes.
No doubt about it. Well, that is a look at some of our Christmas wishes. Anything else that our kindergartners want to tell us about today?
You want to say anything else, kindergarten? You want to tell them everybody Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas!
That'll do it for me. That is our kindergarten students joining us here today with wishes of having fun, staying healthy, and also a remote control monster truck. And that is something that sounds like a fun time to me on top of that, especially if I were at the kindergarten age still, but we're a little bit past that. Well, Grace, I've got another question for you here today. I'm glad to be able to sprinkle our kindergartners in here at the start. And, we talked about those Catholic values and being able to bring them into everyday learning and activities. And so I'm wondering, what about faith in the classroom? Like what role that kind of plays within the classroom, but also for the overall school community?
Yeah, so kind of like we talked about earlier, we kind of sprinkle lessons in faith and those teachable moments throughout our day. I think, coming from a larger school here to Sacred Heart that's a smaller school, I really do feel that we are that family that you hear about, talked about with Sacred Heart, and everybody knows everybody. They spend a lot of time together, which can bring its bumps, but they all really do show respect for one another, for all of our staff here. And it's been really wonderful to see, with my own kids attending, just that family feel, that faith is really forward in what we do. It's not on the back burner. It's at the very forefront of what we do here. And that just kind of trickles down to everything else. So when you're a good, respectful student and you're kind to those around you, everybody else can learn. That's great for everybody in the classroom. And I think that just kind of is a domino effect we see throughout. Our students grow up to be leaders in the community, leaders in their church, and things like that. So just having that faith at the front of what we do.
And I was going to say it starts in the classroom now, maybe within the school community, but you're also thinking those latter years too. And that is something of note, certainly when it comes to establishing a great base right now for these young students. And so at this moment, we also want to talk to Deb just real quick before we take our first break today about balancing kind of the festive celebrations with also keeping the spirit and the significance of Advent and Christmas intact. And Deb, I'm wondering how we talked about towing that line and trying to have fun, but also keep with the significance of Christmas and the Advent. What can you tell me about actually making sure that happens?
Well, and like we had discussed in the prior question, they do go to Mass every day and they see the Advent wreath, they see candles. So, I mean, that's part of what they hopefully are thinking about during that time. Then they can come back and they have their morning prayer in their classroom. And then they can go on. And like I said, our teachers, it's the balance. And like I said, it's very difficult. I mean, and not really difficult, but I mean, as it gets closer and closer, and then the snow comes and the anticipation, and we don't want to squelch that by any means. So, like I said, it's all about the balance.
And it sounds like we are finding it here today and talking with not only Principal Deb Zook of Sacred Heart Schools, but also Administrative Intern Grace Holthouse for Sacred Heart Schools, and then the kindergarten. And we'll talk first grade and we'll talk second grade Christmas wishes as well when we return. But we are joined by a whole lot at Sacred Heart Schools here on the WTIM Pana Morning Show. We'll be right back with all of them in just a moment on WTIM, your information station.
Your information station. WTIM. WTIM.
And we're back with the WTIM Pana Morning Show here from your Taylorville studios. And the WTIM Pana Morning Show, it's brought to you by our title sponsor and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, as well as Pana Save a Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, the Okanee Chop Shop, Nokomis Dairy Queen, and Pana Bowl. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman, and our guests in this segment, we've got Deb Zook, principal at Sacred Heart Schools, and Grace Holthouse, administrative intern, as well as students at the kindergarten, first and second grade levels. Our first question coming back out of the break is for Grace, and that's, what are some of the ways that the school is fostering a sense of community among students and families? You touched on it in previous answers, and so too has Principal Zook, but I'm wondering if you could just kind of bring it all together for us.
Sure. So, we talk about how Sacred Heart is a family, and we really, abide by what we're saying there. We have peer tutoring opportunities. I have some sixth graders that come down and work with students in second and third grade to help them with some extra practice they need. Unlike some larger schools, because we are small, a lot of our projects and recess time and activities, like our upcoming music program, they're going to have kids across all different grade levels together. And I think that's a great opportunity for our older students to mentor our younger students, and our younger students to have somebody to look up to. So really kind of building on that family concept. Just yesterday, Miss Sam and I in the office, we did some Christmas trivia. It was both kind of like traditional religious side of Christmas, and then also, fun Santa Claus, things like that, questions mixed together. And our sixth, seventh, and eighth graders all worked on that in teams and groups. And so that was really fun. Earlier this year, we had a canned goods drive before Thanksgiving, and we brought, several hundred items to local food pantries and blessing boxes across Pana to support, the needs of others in our community. So we work together as a family, not only for our own needs, but for those in our community as well.
Well, that's an amazing deal to hear about that canned food drive, but also just the day-to-day kind of peer mentorship that is kind of fostered by administration, and also by what you guys are doing from K through eighth grade. So we want to talk with our first graders now and what their Christmas wishes are. So if you would, again, give me your name and what you wish for this Christmas.
My name is Liam, and I hope all the kids are happy.
Hoping all the kids are happy. That is Liam at the first grade level. We've got one more Christmas wish, and what would that be?
My name is Carson, and I wish that everyone can learn about Jesus.
Wish that everybody can learn about Jesus is what Carson wishes for. And Liam says he wants everybody to have themselves a happy, Merry Christmas. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to talk to our second graders with their Christmas questions. And the first for our second graders is, do you help decorate the Christmas tree? What can you tell me?
My name is Genevieve.
And what do you do to decorate the tree?
I help put on the ornaments.
Help put on the ornament, says Genevieve. Well, awesome. I bet that's a whole lot of fun. And what about the favorite ornament that's made its way to the tree? What's our favorite ornament?
My name is Jace, and my favorite ornament at home is this one that has a reindeer and Santa's on it.
Has reindeer and Santas on it. Man, that sounds like an awesome ornament on the Christmas tree. And what about our favorite part of the Christmas story about Jesus? Who wants to answer that?
My name is Cruz. My favorite part about Christmas story is Jesus.
Okay. Is Jesus just being a part of said Christmas story, the biggest part of said Christmas story? But why do we celebrate Christmas? Who wants to tell me that?
My name is Brayden, and it's because of Jesus.
It is because of Jesus. And so our last question for our second grade students here today is, how do you show kindness to others during this Christmas season?
My name is Robert. We show kindness by, if somebody is hurt, give them a hug. If somebody is left out, you ask if they want to play with you. And helping if somebody needs help.
Well, Robert, that is fantastic and a great way to wrap things up. And thank you all for joining me here today to talk your Christmas season at Sacred Heart Schools. And Merry Christmas to you guys. We had Deb Zook, principal at Sacred Heart Schools, Grace Holthouse, administrative intern, and kindergarten, first and second grade students joining us here on WTIM, your Pana Morning Show.